The border had not moved in 300 years. It was a line of space marked by old beacons and fear rather than walls. Every pilot in the Empire learned its location before learning how to land. Beyond it lay unknown routes and forgotten wars. On this day, the sensors at Outpost 9 screamed without sound. Because the system was not designed to panic. Captain Jisoo stood alone in the command ring as the main display sharpened its image. A single object slid across the border line with no hesitation. It was large, angular, and calm in its movement. No escorts followed it. No drone screen preceded it. It crossed like it owned the space. Jisoo felt the strange chill that came when training met reality. A lone ship meant madness or certainty. The computer tagged it after a long pause, pulling data from sealed libraries and half-forgotten files. Species designation appeared in pale text. Human. Jisoo did not order weapons raised. He did not speak. He watched. The outpost sent an automatic priority signal toward the capital. Minutes later, the capital received it, and silence spread through halls built for noise. Admiral Haniel stood from his seat when the image appeared above the council floor. He had seen fleet formations, living stars of metal and flame, but this was different. One ship, no fear in its path. Empress Era entered without announcement. Her presence stilled the room. She looked at the projection, then at the faces around her. None met her eyes for long. "Confirm," she said. "It crossed the border without slowing," Haniel replied. "No weapons charge spike. No communication. And you are certain it is human?" "Yes." The word carried weight. It was not spoken often. Humans were not enemies. They were not allies. They were something older than both. In the analysis chamber, Commander Yura worked in silence. Data streams rolled past her eyes. Power curves, shield harmonics, internal mass estimates. Each result made her jaw tighten. The ship carried output equal to a sector defense array, not spread across stations or fleets, focused, controlled. "It is built to stand alone," she said quietly to no one. Scholar Doyon arrived late, his robe still half fastened. He had been pulled from the archive vaults, where few went by choice. He stared at the image and exhaled slowly. "They still build them that way," he murmured. "What way?" Haniel asked, as if help will never come. At the border, smaller Imperial ships drifted in fixed positions, holding fire as ordered. Their crews watched the human vessel with growing unease. It did not scan them openly. It did not alter course. It passed between patrol lanes with perfect understanding of their geometry. As if it had memorized the border long ago, Captain Jisoo received a tight beam message from the capital. "Observe only. Do not engage. Do not challenge." He felt relief and insult at the same time. On the human ship, no one hailed the Empire. The vessel adjusted internal balance, compensating for minor gravitational variance. It logged the border crossing as complete. Inside, its crew moved with quiet routine. There was no celebration, no tension spike. This was not a gamble. It was a decision made long before the ship launched. Back in the capital, the council argued in careful voices. Some demanded a show of strength. Others urged patience. Empress Era listened without interruption. When the room tired itself, she spoke. "If this ship wished harm, we would already know." No one disagreed. Commander Yura projected a close scan. The hull bore marks. Old ones. Scars layered upon scars. This ship had been repaired many times without cosmetic concern. Function over pride. "It has survived battles we erased from record," Yura said. "Possibly battles we lost." Scholar Doyon nodded. Humans remember what others forget, and they build reminders. At Outpost 9, alarm softened into steady tones. The human ship continued deeper, still alone. Captain Jisu watched the distance grow and wondered if the Empire was already too late to choose anything but fear. A junior officer named Myra broke protocol and spoke. Why would they send only one? Jisu answered without turning. Because one was enough. The capital screens followed the ship's path. It did not aim for worlds or stations. It aimed for empty space beyond the core lanes, as if proving a point rather than seeking contact. Every calculation showed the same truth. Intercepting it would require half the border fleet, and victory was not guaranteed. Empress Era dismissed the council early. She stood alone afterward, gazing at the fading image. Long ago, her tutors had spoken of the last human conflict in careful phrases. Not a war. An ending. Entire empires had chosen silence rather than risk attention. She wondered what had changed Dot as the hour passed. The human ship finally sent a signal. It was narrow, clean, and direct. It carried no threat codes, no demands. Just identification and confirmation of transit. Captain Jisu received it first. The words were translated twice to be certain. This vessel claims peaceful passage. We acknowledge your border and will cross without harm. That was all. No request. No apology. Jisu forwarded it upward. His hands shook, not from fear, but from the weight of being seen. In the capital, Haniel read the message aloud. Some officers scoffed. Others felt exposed. Empress Era closed her eyes briefly. They did not ask, she said. They informed. Doyan replied. Commander Yura added, and they slowed by 3% after sending it. A courtesy. Silence returned, deeper than before. At the border, the line that had never moved still glowed faintly. The human ship was far beyond it now, a single light against the dark. The Empire had not fired, had not spoken first, had not stopped it. Captain Jisu logged the event with careful words. Unauthorized crossing. No hostile action. Outcome pending. He paused before finalizing. Then he added one more line. Empire response. None. Far away. The solitary human warship continued on its path, unchallenged, unchanged, carrying with it the quiet certainty that sometimes the greatest power was simply to cross a line and keep going. The news spread through the Empire without official words. Crews whispered. Merchants paused their routes. Old veterans stared at star maps longer than usual. A single human warship had crossed the border, and the Empire had done nothing. Fear did not arrive as panic. It arrived as memory. In the capital, sealed archive doors opened for the first time in decades. Scholar Doyan walked between tall data pillars, his steps slow and careful. The lights here were dim by design, meant to discourage curiosity. He activated ancient records that most citizens believed were myths. The named human appeared again and again, always followed by red warning marks. The records spoke of battles where fleets vanished not in explosions, but in surrender. They spoke of human ships that fought while damaged, burned, and alone. Humans did not retreat easily. They adapted. When weapons failed, they changed tactics. When tactics failed, they endured. Doyan felt cold as he read. Above him, in the council chamber, Admiral Haniel listened as Commander Yura presented her findings. The human ship had not powered up weapons, but its internal systems were awake. Every subsystem reacted instantly to changes in space. It was ready for anything. It is not careless, Yura said. It is confident. That may be worse, Haniel replied. Empress Era watched them both. She remembered lessons from her youth, lessons that ended early with no questions allowed. Humans were rare. Humans were dangerous. Humans did not threaten unless forced. The presence of one ship suggested intent, not accident. At Outpost 9, Captain Jisu remained on duty far past his shift. He replayed the border crossing again and again. The angle, the speed, the way the human ship never corrected its course because it never needed to. Younger officers gathered nearby, pretending to work. They could destroy us. One said softly. Yes, Jisoo answered. Why do they not? Jisoo did not answer right away. Because they do not need to prove it. Far deeper in Imperial space, fleets adjusted positions without orders. Ships spread out, creating distance rather than strength. No one wanted to be the closest target. Commanders requested guidance. None came. The human warship continued its journey. It did not head toward the capital or industrial zones. It moved along an old trade route abandoned after the last silent war. Its engines burned steady, efficient, without flare. It carried the marks of long service, and its crew treated those marks as history, not damage. Inside the ship, crew members reviewed Empire data gathered openly. Border patrol patterns, communication delays, energy outputs. Nothing suggested immediate hostility. That was acceptable. Humans had learned long ago that fear made others unpredictable. Back in the archives, Diane uncovered a personal log from a long-dead Imperial commander. The words were uneven, written under stress. The commander described facing a human ship alone, how it waited, how it allowed retreat, how it only attacked when cornered. The log ended with a single sentence. Do not force them to choose. Diane closed the file and sent a summary to the Empress Dot in the council chamber. Debate returned, sharper now. Some argued the human ship was a scout, testing reactions. Others believed it was a warning. A few suggested immediate negotiation. Pride clashed with fear. They crossed our border, one officer said. If we do nothing, we appear weak. Empress Era answered calmly. If we act without understanding, we appear foolish. Commander Yura added, they have already learned what they wanted. We did not fire. Silence followed Dot at Outpost 9. A new signal arrived. Not a message. A data echo. The human ship was scanning relic debris from an old battle site. A battle officially erased from history. Jisoo felt a tightness in his chest. They were not lost. The humans remembered where everything had fallen. Myra, the junior officer, watched the data flow. It is like they are checking something. They are, Jisoo said. They are checking us. In the capital, Empress Era stood by the great window, overlooking the city. Countless lights moved below, unaware of how close the past felt. She thought of the choice ahead. Attack and risk annihilation. Ignore and lose authority. Speak and admit fear. The human ship slowed slightly as it passed the debris field. A subtle sign. Commander Yura caught it at once. They want us to notice. Yura said. Then we should, Haniel replied. For the first time since the crossing, the Empire prepared a reply. Not a challenge. Not a threat. A recognition. Drafts were written and erased. Words carried weight. Now Dot at the border outpost. Captain Jisoo was selected to transmit the message. His voice would represent the Empire's restraint. He straightened his uniform and activated the channel. This is Captain Jisoo of the Imperial Border Fleet, he said carefully. Your presence has been observed. Your passage is acknowledged. He stopped there. No demands. No accusations. Seconds passed. Then the human ship responded with a simple acknowledgement tone. Nothing more. Across Imperial space, tension eased just enough to be felt. Fleets did not stand down, but fingers loosened from triggers. Fear shifted shape, becoming caution. In the archives, Diane added a new record. Human contact renewed. Outcome uncertain. Empress Era returned to her seat and allowed herself one slow breath. The Empire had survived the first test. Not by strength, But by patience not far from the capital, the solitary human warship continued forward. It had crossed the border. It had crossed memory. Now it waited to see what the Empire would do next. The Empire did not sleep well after the message was sent. Nothing else happened, and that made it worse. No attack came. No warning followed. The human warship simply continued its slow path through Imperial space, as if time itself had bent around its presence dot in the capital. Commander Yura studied new data feeds with growing concern. The human ship was no longer just observing. It was mapping. Not aggressively, not secretly, but with open precision. Energy pulses spread outward like calm breaths. Each pulse touched Imperial systems and passed through without interference. "They are learning everything," Yura said. Admiral Haniel nodded. "And allowing us to learn that they are learning." This honesty unsettled the Council more than stealth ever could. Empress Era ordered the release of limited information to the public. A controlled statement explained that a foreign vessel was passing peacefully. Markets steadied. Panic faded into curiosity. Yet among officers and scholars, unease grew sharper. At Outpost 9, Captain Jisoo received new instructions. Maintain visual tracking. No further communication unless initiated by the human ship. He acknowledged and returned his attention to the stars. The human vessel altered course slightly and approached an old monitoring relay, inactive for years. Imperial sensors showed no hostile intent. Still, Jisoo felt his pulse rise. The relay held fragments of forgotten history. The ship stopped near it, engines humming softly. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the relay powered on. Ancient lights flickered back to life, responding to a signal no Imperial system used anymore. Data flowed out, pulled cleanly, without force. The human ship had keys the Empire had lost. Scholar Doyon watched the event from the archives, his expression grim. "They were here before," he said. "Not as conquerors. As witnesses." Records confirmed it. Humans had once shared this region, traded knowledge, and fought beside now vanished species. When the Great Collapse came, they did not claim territory. They withdrew and remembered in the council chamber. Voices rose. Some demanded the relay be destroyed. Others argued it was too late. Empress Era raised her hand, and silence returned. "If they wished to expose our past," she said, "they would have done so already." Commander Yura added, "They are choosing restraint." The human ship sent a second message. It was longer than the first, but still calm. It acknowledged the Empire's transmission and expressed appreciation for non-interference. It stated that the ship's mission was observation and verification. Verification of what? The Council wondered, but no one asked. Captain Jisoo received a private signal routed only to his station. It was unexpected. The message requested permission to share navigational data to avoid interference with Imperial traffic. Jisoo stared at the words. The human ship was asking to be polite. He forwarded the request upward. Approval came quickly. The data exchange was smooth. Imperial systems struggled to interpret some of the formats, but nothing crashed. The human ship adjusted its path again, giving wide clearance to civilian routes. Across the fleets, tension shifted into something like respect. In the capital, Empress Era met with Doyon alone. He showed her fragments recovered from the relay. Old battle footage. Broken alliances. Worlds that no longer existed. "They want to know if we remember," Doyon said. "And if we do not, then they will remember for us." The idea frightened her more than war. The human ship resumed movement, heading toward the Empire's inner boundary. This line was not drawn on public maps. It protected core systems. Passing it would be an insult. Fleets stirred. Weapons warmed. Admiral Haniel requested guidance. Empress Era considered the stars beyond the window. The ship had done nothing wrong, yet its presence forced every hidden fear into the open. She ordered the fleets to hold Captain. Jisoo felt the weight of that command ripple outward. The human ship crossed the inner boundary without pause. No alarms sounded. No shots fired. Inside the ship, the crew noted the restraint with approval. Trust, once offered, mattered. The ship slowed again and sent the final transmission for the day. It thanked the Empire for its discipline and stated that observation would continue briefly before departure. No threats. No promises. In the council chamber, no one spoke. The Empire had allowed a human warship to reach its heart and live. That night, Empress Era recorded a private message for future rulers. Power is not always loud. Sometimes it is patient. Today we faced humanity not in battle, but in choice. Far beyond the capital lights, a solitary human warship waited in silence, its mission unfolding exactly as planned. The inner boundary remained quiet, and that quiet pressed on every mind in the Empire. The human warship stayed where it was, neither advancing nor retreating. It held position with calm control, like a thought that refused to be ignored. In the capital, Admiral Haniel walked the long corridor outside the command chamber. He had commanded fleets and watched stars burn, yet nothing had prepared him for this waiting. Battles ended. Standoffs dragged on. This felt different. This felt like being judged. Commander Yura joined him, carrying a thin data slate. No changes, she said. Their systems remained steady. No weapon charge. No shield flare. They could leave, Haniel said. They could, Yura agreed. They choose not to. Inside the chamber, Empress Era listened to distant traffic reports. Civilian life continued, careful but intact. She wondered if the people understood how narrow the line was between peace and ruin. Scholar Doyun entered quietly. The human ship has accessed no restricted systems, he said. They have respected every limit we set, even the ones not spoken. That may be the message, Era replied. At Outpost 9, Captain Jisoo received reports from patrols closer to the core. None reported interference. The human ship's presence even seemed to reduce random piracy. No one wanted to act foolish under human observation. Mira stood beside him, watching the distant light on the main screen. They make everyone behave, she said. Yes, Jisoo replied, including us. In the council, a proposal surfaced. A formal envoy, not a demand, not a warning. An acknowledgement of presence, an intent to speak. The idea caused discomfort. The Empire had not sent envoys from a position of fear in centuries. Empress Era considered it carefully. If we do nothing, she said, we remain frozen. If we attack, we risk everything. If we speak, we admit the truth. What truth? An officer asked. That we are not alone at the top. Era answered. The decision was made. Captain Jisoo was ordered to prepare a secure channel. Not for command traffic, but for conversation. His hands felt heavy as he activated systems unused for years. This is Captain Jisoo of the Imperial Border Fleet, he said. On behalf of the Empire, we request dialogue. The response came after a brief pause. A human voice, calm and even, filled the channel. It gave a name, simple and unadorned. It confirmed willingness to speak. No threats followed. No demands. Across Imperial space, tension shifted again. This time into something like relief. The human explained their presence without revealing more than necessary. The ship had been sent to confirm stability along old borders, to see which powers still stood, to observe how they acted when unchallenged. Empress Era listened from the capital, her expression unreadable. And now, she asked, what do you see? The answer was honest. Restraint, the human said. Uncertainty, potential. Some council members bristled. Others leaned forward. You crossed lines, Hera said. Yes, the human replied, to see if lines still mattered. Silence followed. The human ship requested permission to share limited historical data recovered from the relay. Not to embarrass, to compare records. Doyan felt his breath catch. Lost history offered freely. Permission was granted. The data revealed gaps in Imperial knowledge, not accusations. Simply facts. Where records ended, human memory continued. Where Imperial pride had erased defeat, humans had archived it without judgment. This is dangerous, one council member whispered. It is honest. Doyan replied. As the exchange continued, something unexpected happened. Fear began to fade. Not vanish, but soften. The human did not press advantage. Did not expose weakness beyond what was already known. In the fleets, readiness levels eased slightly. Crews slept in shifts instead of chairs. The stars did not feel as sharp. The human ship announced its intent to depart within one cycle. Observation was complete. Trust had been measured. Captain Jisu felt a strange disappointment. Before the channel closed, Empress Hera spoke directly. If you return, she said, will you come as you did now? The human answered without hesitation. Alone, if needed. Together, if invited. The channel closed. The human warship powered its engines and turned outward. Its movement was smooth, unhurried. Fleets tracked it, but did not follow at Outpost 9. The borderline glowed once more as the ship approached it from the inside. Captain Jisu stood as it crossed back, the same way it had entered. Calm. Certain. In the capital, Empress Hera watched the final telemetry fade. The Empire had not won. It had not lost. It had learned. Far beyond the border, a solitary human. Warship continued on, carrying with it a quiet victory built not on force, but on choice. The border grew quiet again after the human warship left. The beacons returned to their steady glow, and patrol routes resumed their old paths. To an outside eye, nothing had changed. Inside the Empire, everything felt different. In the capital, Empress Hera ordered a full review of doctrine and history. Not a purge, not a rewrite, a study. She wanted truth without comfort. Scholar Doyan worked day and night, opening files once sealed by pride. Officers read reports that spoke plainly about past defeats and narrow escapes. No one enjoyed it, but no one refused. Admiral Haniel addressed the fleet commanders. We were tested, he said, not by weapons, but by patience. We passed because we chose not to reach for strength first. Some commanders nodded. Others struggled, but the lesson settled. Commander Yura oversaw changes to sensor networks. She adjusted protocols to favor clarity over secrecy. If we are watched, she told her team, we will be seen as steady. The idea spread. Ships reported anomalies openly. Panic lessened when honesty replaced rumor. At Outpost 9, Captain Jisu finally took a full rest cycle. When he returned, the stars looked the same, yet he felt older. Myra joined him at the viewport. Do you think they will come back? She asked. Yes, Jisu said. Not soon. But when it matters, will they be alone again? Jisu considered. If they are, it will mean something is wrong. Across Imperial space, trade resumed with caution. Neighboring powers noticed the quiet. Signals were sent. Questions asked. The Empire answered carefully, saying little, revealing less, but no longer hiding behind silence. In distant systems, rumors spread that a single human ship had crossed the Empire and left unchallenged. Some dismissed it as legend. Others remembered older stories and chose restraint. Weeks passed. Then a new signal arrived at the border. Not a ship. A message relay, small and unarmed. It carried human markings and a request for acknowledgement. Captain Jisu received it first. The message was brief. It thanked the Empire for measured response and confirmed shared data integrity. It included no demands. At the end was a line meant for future readers. Peace holds when strength does not need to speak. Jisoo forwarded it to the capital. Empress Era read it alone. She did not smile. She did not frown. She stored it among the most important records of her reign. The Empire began quiet reforms. Borders remained, but their meaning shifted. They became lines of choice, not walls of fear. Fleets trained for defense and delay rather than prideful attack. Diplomats learned to listen longer than they spoke. Scholar Doyon published a controlled history for the academies. It did not praise humans. It did not condemn the Empire. It simply showed how survival often depended on knowing when not to fight. Time passed. Far away, the solitary human warship returned to its origin space. Its mission report was short. Empire stable. Leadership cautious. Potential ally. The crew stood down from alert status. The ship bore new marks now, not from battle, but from long travel. Its crew treated them the same. History written in metal. Years later, a crisis rose beyond the Empire's far edge. A force that did not negotiate, did not remember, did not fear. Border alarms rang louder than before. Empress Era was older then. Her voice carried weight earned through restraint. She ordered no immediate attack. Instead, she sent a signal. Crossed old routes and newer scars. It carried a simple request: observation complete. Choice required. The reply did not come at once. When it did, the stars shifted. A single human warship appeared at the border, followed by others at a respectful distance. Not a fleet. Not a threat. A presence. Captain Jisoo, now an admiral, watched from the same outpost. He felt the same chill, but also something new. Trust. The human ship crossed the border again. This time, it was not alone by necessity, but by design. The Empire did not freeze in fear. It stood ready. Not to fight first, but to choose wisely. And across the dark, humanity watched, satisfied, knowing that sometimes the greatest victory was teaching others how not to fall.